it kind of limits the price discovery.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to pull out stuff like that, right? But I mean, look at other launch pads.
Well, I want to talk about Arjo. In case anybody doesn't know what Arjo is, could you explain real quick what that is?
Yeah, sure. Arjo is a non-transferable allocation credit for launches. So when I say launches, it's like you use Arjo to access Rocket Joe launches. So Rocket Joe is a liquidity launch platform, and it's used to essentially launch a new protocol and list a new token into the market. So it's kind of like a launch pad. You can think of it that way. It's just an easier system to grasp. But no, let me touch on the high level of what Rocket Joe essentially facilitates. Rocket Joe is basically a liquidity bootstrapping platform. So protocols that launch from that platform and issue their token into the market, it allows them to raise a larger liquidity pool versus just issuing a token on a launch pad. It allows them to raise that liquidity pool by sending their token in a more sustainable manner. And why it's sustainable is, well, they allow the markets, so any Arjo participants, to price in their token at fair market value through a price discovery process. And Rocket Joe essentially automates that process in like a fully decentralized manner. So it's a case of they provide their tokens into the launch pool, the market kind of price it in fairly, and at the end of this price discovery process, Rocket Joe then kind of launches the token by seeding liquidity on the DEX. And this is like a completely automated process as well. So it kind of wraps in the process of issuing a new token to the market and also seeding the liquidity on the DEX. So it's a truly decentralized way to launch and list a token on an AMM. And there's like additional benefits like participating in the launch. You don't need to use KYC because it's fully decentralized. So it has full accessibility from audiences that perhaps can't partake in the participation of tokens on launch pads, stuff like that. And yeah, that's basically Rocket Joe. So it's bootstrapping liquidity, it's raising it sustainably, it's price discovery, and it's truly DeFi, and it's wrapped, it's a fully wrapped service. So it's just completely automated from start to finish, which I think is perhaps a benefit which is not pulled out enough.
All right, I want to push back on that just a little bit. Right. I had an interview with, do you know who CedarNet is?
Yeah, I know he is. Yeah. It's big in the Avalanche eco. So
I had an interview with CedarNet, and one of his contentions, I guess, with Rocket Joe is his feel that it's not a good representation of a new token's true demand, and that it kind of limits price discovery since the only participants can be people who have Rocket Joe. You're limited by how much Rocket Joe you've accrued, because there's like a ratio of, I forget exactly, I think it's like 100 to 1 AVAX, right? Or something similar.
Yeah, so like if you're staking Joe into the Arjo staking pool, you earn Arjo over time. It is non-transferable. It's the ratio of what it's kind of worth is 100 Arjo is representative to an allocation of 1 AVAX that you can deposit into a Rocket Joe launch. So yeah, users would, if they want to deposit 1 AVAX, they have to accrue 100 Arjo, and they do that over time. So it's like a staking reward that they get.
So what would you say to that assertion though? So let's say I had 1,000 AVAX and I wanted to take part in one of these launches, but I only discovered Rocket Joe 2 days beforehand. And so I got the Joe, I'm staking, but I only have 98 Arjo because of whatever reason, right? I want to spend 1,000 AVAX, but I can't spend that 1,000 AVAX simply because I don't have enough Arjo at the time for this specific launch, limiting the amount that I can invest, which would say it kind of limits the price discovery.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to pull out stuff like that, right? But I mean, look at other launch pads. You've got to stake tokens to gain access to something. And Arjo is a way to help, one, provide some level of control over, well, protection over potential manipulation as well. Is people have to be involved in the eco to get access to these Rocket Joe launches. It's not totally open from that accessibility view, and the reason it's like that, is because we're trying to provide a level of protection over any large entities just coming in and potentially just manipulating the price discovery for what it is. The Rocket Joe launches that we have, we've got thousands of participants in every launch, so there might be, from an outsider's view, oh wait, this isn't truly accessible to everyone whenever they want, but this is a way to help us kind of control potential manipulation, and that was a key kind of rationale behind it. And then also it provides a level of kind of value return to the wider kind of Joe ecosystem as well. That's why we have our Joe staking, right? Is to help provide greater utility for Joe token, which the Joe community want and ask for. They ask for more utility, and this is one optional kind of utility use for that Joe token.
I think that's more than a fair response. I mean, my personal view of it is that you guys are only responsible for Joe, essentially, and the Joe community. So whatever benefits them, it would be in your best interest to do what benefits your community. You're not responsible for the entire wide world. You can't be.
I mean, I do understand that some people have raised questions around, well, RJ kind of limits accessibility, and I get that, but we're trying to balance a combination of providing value return for the Joe ecosystem, on top of also protecting the protocols that launch from there as well. We were very conscious about manipulation of price discovery. It's quite sensitive, and this is our means to help kind of provide a level of control to avoid anything potential, like larger entities just coming in and depositing, withdrawing, and stuff like that. So there's a combination of things that we're trying to balance.